Good morning. It's 9 a.m. and I would like to call to order the teleconference meeting of the Rules, Policy, and Industrial Relations Committee of Friday, August 27th, 2021. Before we begin, please be advised this meeting is being recorded. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. Starting with Director Cochran.
Here.
Director Garbarino.
Here.
Director Grosboll.
Here.
Director Hernandez.
Here.
Director Hill.
Here.
Vice Chair Terrio.
Here.
Chair Arnold.
Here.
And
Thank
President
you.
Parr.
Present.
Thank you. And also on the line we have Directors Frederick, Maston, and Rodoni joining you. You have a quorum and you are a committee of the whole today. And
Right.
I'm going to confirm. Dennis, you're on the line there?
Yes, good morning.
Joe Wire,
Yes.
Ava Barr-Furbish.
Present.
Okay. Attorney Kim Manolius.
Morning.
Great. Steve Miller.
Here, good morning.
Mona Babauta.
Yes, present.
Jim Swindler is not online. Kelly Hopper.
Good morning.
Great. Thank you very much. That confirms staff and everyone on our line.
Great. Thank you very much. And it's nice to have everyone here, especially the staff. And I would like to remind everyone to mute their phones until after staff's presentation. And remember to unmute when we open up for director's discussion. After staff's presentation, I will be asking for any questions, comments, or concerns on the item. If there are questions, the secretary or I will call on you accordingly. After the discussion, we will ask for any public comment before moving on. Please follow along by referring to the page's numbers listed on the bottom right-hand side of your meeting packet. Madam Secretary, please proceed with the first item on the agenda.
Thanks, Chair Arnold. We're going to start with agenda item number 3 to approve actions relative to post-retirement employment pursuant to California Public Employees Pension Reform Act, PEPRA, Extra Help Technical Expert Assignment. That staff report begins on page 3, and Kelly Hopper is on the line to present that report. Ms. Hopper, take it away.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good morning, committee. We are asking that the committee appoint Robert Smith as an extra help technical expert assignment for 18 months with an option for an additional 18 months under a provision with the California Public Employees Pension Reform Act, which is called PEPRA. I'll refer to it as PEPRA, as the extra help exception. And a little bit of a refresher, in 2013, the California PEPRA Act went into effect, and it had many provisions that were essentially to eliminate the ability for public agencies and public employees to work, retire, start collecting a pension, and then come back and start working again. So there were some limitations. That was one of the provisions of PEPRA, and as a result, there are several exceptions, but there is one carve out that PEPRA provides an exception for members of the public employees pension to be able to return under certain conditions, which are outlined in the reports. Some of the things were limiting a retiree or returning annuitant to working no more than 960 hours in any one fiscal year. Incidentally, that provision right now has been suspended during the COVID state of emergency. Another provision was the employee could not earn more, the returning retiree could not earn more than the salary. They, in essence, had to have the same pay. They're not allowed to earn service credits when they return, several things. And then one key condition is that the return retiree is not allowed to be reemployed within 180 days from their retirement date. An additional part of PEPRA is they amended the Public Employees Retirement Law, which is referred to as PEARL, where there is a very prescriptive process that an agency must go through if they would like to request that exception to bring back a returning annuitant. And the district finds itself in that position, and that's what we're bringing this item to you this morning. There is a necessity in our engineering department where we are now bringing this, and it's compelling us to bring this item forward for approval today. We have a supervising civil engineer. His name was Robert Smith, Bob Smith. Many of you may know him, and he retired in early June this year. Mr. Smith was a very critical part of our engineering department, particularly in some of the legacy capital projects that we have going on at the district, principally the suicide deterrent project, as well as the district seismic retrofit. And in fact, he was the resident engineer for Phase 2, the South Approach, as well as Phase 3A and the suicide deterrent. So you can imagine he has a lot of unique skills that are probably not uniquely acquired, and there's still an abundance of work in these legacy capital projects that need assistance. So in consultation with the engineering department, they believe and recommend that it is critical to the delivery of the completion of these projects that Bob or Mr. Smith be allowed to come back and be appointed in the extra help technical expert role to provide some of those specialized skills and expertise to the district in the completion of these projects. Now, with your approval of his appointment into the extra help assignment, it will actually satisfy the conditions of the PEPRA law and the PEARL law. And so we are asking that you consider and approve the appointment into this role for him. Again, it's for a period of 18 months with an additional, an option for an additional 18 months that would commence after he has served his 180 days from retirement. And I'm available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hopper, and thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions from directors on this item?
Yeah, this is Dick. I did have a couple of questions.
Please.
So does meet those requirements to work within the 180 days? I see he's coming back a little over 3 months rather than waiting 6 months analysis, and he meets that exception.
Great point, Director Grosbaum. Thank you for bringing that up. We actually are seeking the approval right now. He would not come back before, I believe it's December. I don't know what the 6 months after. He would not come back until 6 months, 180 days. This would allow us to get that process through CalPERS.
Okay. And is he going to be working 960 or less, taking advantage of the fact that that provision has been suspended during COVID?
You know, I do not know that answer, and I apologize. I would have to defer to our district engineer on what the work plan for that is.
Thank you, Julie. So we would like him to work as much as we need him. However, he expressed the desire to stick to this 960 days.
Well, given that these areas, the suicide deterrent system and the seismic retrofit are two of our biggest projects, I certainly support this, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Pardon me, who's speaking?
Madam Chair, this is Director Hernandez.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I'm asking to speak not to, I'm in support of what's needed here in terms of our engineering support. But I just want to, for the record and just for thought for the future, and I know our Chief Engineering Officer is very well aware of this, but just want to support efforts to continue to grow and offer opportunities to expand professionally of our existing engineering staff. I know we're really short-staffed and short-handed right now, but just to keep in mind, taking every opportunity to help our existing staff grow and be able to have additional professional challenges so that we don't run into situations like this in the future. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? All right, that concludes discussion on item number 3. Before we take our vote, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item?
Chair Arnold, we have no speakers on this item.
Thank you. All right. May I have a motion on the item?
So moved, Director Terrio.
I'll second, Phil.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Please do a roll call vote.
Thank you. We are voting on item number 3 with a first from Director Theriot and a second from Director Hill, starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Aye. Director Conroy. Absent. Director Fredericks.
Yes. I'm not on
Director,
the committee.
We are a committee of the whole.
All right. Yes.
Thank you. Director Garbarino.
Yes.
Director Grosbull.
Yes.
Thank you. Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Hill.
Yes.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Aye. Director Melgar. Absent. Director Rabbit. Absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Thank you. Director Snyder. Absent. Director Stephanie.
Aye. I'm here now.
Oh, there you go. You just popped in.
Sorry.
Thank you. Director Stephanie. Absent. Second Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
First Vice President Theriot.
Yes.
And President Barr.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. That motion passes unanimously.
Great. Thank you, Madam Secretary. Please proceed with the agenda.
Agenda item number 4 is to authorize actions relative to the medical benefits premium sharing contribution rate for non-represented employees, deputy general managers, district officers, and members of the board of directors. Staff report begins on page 7. Kelly will also be presenting this report. Kelly, let's keep you going.
Thank you again. And just as a precursor, I will be bringing this item and then a following item right after this in response to some recent changes that were announced by CalPERS in the offerings of their medical, under CalPERS, their CalPERS medical system. And so there are some policy requests that we need to ask the board to approve. And additionally is to bring some consistency in the administration of the policies and some alignment with the complete district population. So I just wanted to say that as a forward before I made the presentation for this item and then the next one. So as we are asking for approval of an adjustment in the medical benefits program for our non-represented classification, deputy general managers, district officers, and members of the board as outlined below. And this pertains to the premium sharing contribution that a participant would pay for the medical plans. So we're asking that effective January 1 of 2022, that participants who are enrolled in PERS Kaiser or PERS Gold plans would contribute 6% towards the cost of the monthly premium or the applicable COBRA rate, according to the plan and the enrollment level of the plan of their selection. For participants who are enrolled in PERS Platinum, we're asking that the committee approve the adoption of an 8.5% contribution toward the premium of the plan of their enrollment. And then finally, that effective January 1, 2022 as well, that all pre-Medicare eligible retirees contribute the equivalent of their Medicare Part B premium as their premium share in these plans. And just to provide you a little bit of background, I'll try to walk through this slowly because I'm sure there may be some questions. So a little bit of background, back in 2012, the board of directors actually implemented a premium contribution program for the district and for all non-represented employees. At that time, it was based upon the premium was based upon a percentage of the cost of the plan. Employees had to pay that percentage. And then in May of 2014, so about 2 years later, the board made some modifications, and it included two components. One was adjusting the tiers for the premium contribution rate, and which was now based upon an hourly rate. So whatever your hourly wage was, that's how your premium was applied. And then the second component is if you were a pre-Medicare retiree, which we all call early retirees around the district, if you're an early retiree and you chose to enroll in one of the bronze plans, that the board approved that we would waive your premium share contribution if you stayed enrolled in a bronze plan upon your retirement. So that happened in May of 2014. Subsequent to that, the district was in negotiations with some of the bargaining units, and ultimately what was negotiated with the bargaining groups was a flat rate premium contribution that was not assigned based upon hourly wages, nor was it a percentage. So it was a flat rate regardless, and it was usually based upon your enrollment plan. So that was in 2014. And even in our most recent negotiations, particularly with the coalition, the district actually agreed to the same premium share rate that the ATU had. So essentially what we've had now is we have an overwhelming population at the district paying a flat rate, somewhat analogous to one another. And then we have the non-reps who are paying a percentage, and it's not a very consistent. As you can see in the table on page 10, on page 8, you can see on the table where you can see where the differences start to occur for different plans, different tiers within the plans that has occurred. So in the interest of standardization and administration of these, we were looking at this, and then recently CalPERS then came and said that they were going to be changing the administration of their plans. And I will just briefly, what they said is they currently had 3 PERS plans, which is PERS Select, PERS Choice, and PERS Care, which the district often called the Magic 3. If you've heard that when some of our presentations we said the Magic 3, CalPERS announced that they were actually going to collapse and they were going to come into 2 plans. So everything became a little bit more convoluted. So staff was looking at it and saying, how is a way that we can adjust the premiums so they seem more consistent across the district? How can we adjust, given the new information by CalPERS, that it would make it somewhat comparable? So that is why the recommendation is made, is for PERS Kaiser and PERS Gold to be, the premium share to be set at 6%, and then the PERS Platinum, which was a combining of PERS Choice and PERS Care. I don't want to get too deep in here because it gets a little confusing, but PERS Platinum is now a 90-10 plan, so there's far less financial liability on the employee. And then premiums, probably more importantly, the premiums about 50% higher than PERS Care Gold, is that the employees would pay this 8.5%. What I do want to note, and you can see it on page 11 of your packet, is that with the proposed stipends that we're going to be making in the next board item, I think it's important to note that all the employees who choose to select to enroll in PERS Kaiser or PERS Gold, they're going to receive a stipend, and that stipend is actually going to exceed the amount of their annual premium share. So for some of in some of the recommendations, there are a few plans that looks like they'll be paying a little bit more, but in essence, based upon the annual stipends that we're going to be recommending in the next item, it actually would, they would exceed it. So we believe that it's equitable and fair. This provides some consistency in the administration. It provides a little bit of consistency among all of the working groups at the organization. So this is why we are making this recommendation at this time. And then we have this cleanup item, which is for our pre-Medicare retirees. The district no longer offers a bronze plan, So the board had already approved policy to waive the premium share for bronze plan. And now that we don't have a bronze plan, we need the board to approve that every early retiree who is going to be enrolled in a district purse medical plan, they will be having to pay the equivalent of the Part B premium. So that is more of a cleanup item that we're asking the board to make. And I apologize if it was a little confusing, but I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, do we have any questions on this item? And thank you very much, Ms. Hopper, for your presentation.
This is
Oh, go ahead.
it is a little hard to understand, but the employee-only category, which there probably aren't too many of those, in a couple of those areas, this would amount to an increase were it not for the stipend, right?
For a select, yes, you are correct, Director. For a select group, it would represent an increase had it not been for the stipend. As you can see, though, from the chart on page 8, there are many cases where they were currently paying more. So you're correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, this is Barb.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting paralysis from analysis of all the different charts. So I basically picked up the phone and called. And the bottom line on all of it was, I think the benefits are very fair. I think these changes for almost all employees, and including the non-reps, which includes us as board members, is extremely fair. The premiums for Kaiser range from $51 to $133. The most expensive platinum are $89 to $234. For the group that we're talking about, there's nowhere in the world you can get health care for that, plus the HRA, the reimbursement account. So I can only thank Kelly and her group. I know that you kind of tiptoe through benefits because people keep changing and PERS keeps changing. So thank you for your hard work. And I believe that this is fair to, I would say, all of our employees, but I'm sure there are one or two that there's a change that they're not happy with. That I support this.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Dick. I did have one more question. Sorry, Dick again.
Go ahead.
I want to make sure I understand that this is really one part of the goal is to equalize the benefits so that this is not improving this category of employees any greater than, say, the coalition benefits. The goal is really to make it similar, right? We would
Absolutely.
Increase this category of employees' benefits better than ours.
No,
Yes.
You are absolutely correct. In fact, this brings our non-rep population. We're often paying higher premiums than our represented classification. So you are correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right. This concludes discussion of item number 4. Before we take our vote, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this item?
Thanks, Chair Arnold. We do have one speaker on this item, and in 1 second, I'm going to introduce Ms. Helen Moore.
Okay, thank you.
Helen, hi there. Are you on the line with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thanks a lot. Welcome, and go ahead.
Thank you very much. I also have a lot of difficulty reading through the agenda item and making heads or tails of it, but I do have one question. Will all, however we call it, early retirees, pre-65 retirees, but all employees who would receive full benefits upon retiring, are they all going to pay the Medicare supplement costs as their premium share? And that includes ATU, and the coalition, as well as the non-represented employees.
Ms. Hopper, are you going to answer this?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure.
Okay.
Under the
Who knows?
I apologize. This really is a cleanup item to Ms. Moore. So what we had was under our current policies of the board, it said early retiree, non-represented employees who were enrolled in a bronze plan did not have to pay. Their Medicare Part B was waived. We no longer have a bronze plan, so that now makes them part of the pool where they have to pay the Medicare Part B premium. So yes, I think the long answer is yes, every early retiree Medicare Part B premium is going to be applied to the premium. I don't want to get too long, but there's a lot of ways that there are discounts that are available based upon the plan you design or you choose, which we are educating our employees on that as we go through. So yes, everybody will have to pay the Part B premium.
I appreciate that answer because I know it has been different for all different groups pretty much, and it's been hard to be consistent and to explain. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anyone else from the public, Madam Secretary?
We have no other speakers on this item.
Okay, thank you. May I have a motion on the item?
I'll move the item.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second it. This
Right.
is Barb.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Please do a roll call vote.
Thank you. We're voting on item number 4, and with the first from Director Cochran and the second from Director Parr, President Parr, starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Aye. Director Conroy. Absent. Director Fredericks.
Yes.
Yes. Director Garbarino.
Yes.
Director Grosval.
Yes.
Director Hernandez.
Aye.
Director Hill.
Yes.
Director Masson.
Aye.
Director Melgar. Absent. Director Rabbit. Absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie. Absent. Second Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
First Vice President Terrio.
Yes.
And President Parr.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. That motion passes unanimously.
Great. All right, please proceed to the next item on the agenda.
Thanks again, Chair Arnold. Agenda item number 5 on the agenda is to authorize actions relative to the medical benefits program for non-represented employees, deputy general managers, and district officers and retirees. That staff report begins on page 13, and Kelly Hopper is also presenting that report. Kelly, go ahead.
Thank you. For this item, we're asking for your approval for several different policy items as well, and I will try to briefly walk through them. One is we're asking for your approval to provide an annual stipend to participants who enroll in PERS Kaiser or PERS Gold, and that you modify the stipend amounts for employees who are enrolled in CalPERS Kaiser or Gold at $1,000 for employee-only coverage, $2,000 for employee plus one coverage, and $3,000 annually for family coverage. Number 3 is we ask that you modify the district's funded HRA funding amounts for individuals who are enrolled in plans of PERS Kaiser, PERS Gold, and PERS Platinum, as is outlined in the report, based upon the tier of enrollment, whether it's employee, employee plus one, or family. And then finally, that you modify the policy for our non-represented classification employees, that they must be enrolled in PERS Kaiser or PERS Gold for at least 2 open enrollment periods following their date of hire before they are allowed to enroll in any other CalPERS plan. As I mentioned briefly earlier, CalPERS has announced a change, which principally changes their nomenclature and their coverage. The coverage levels are the same. They've changed the names, and they've collapsed 2 of their plans. So they now offer one plan that's in what they call an 80-20 plan, 80-20 share, and then which is now is called their PERS Gold. And then now they've collapsed their other two plans into one plan called the PERS Platinum, and that's a 90-10 plan. And then they still offer the PERS Kaiser. So many of our policies that we have brought to the board when we implemented the CalPERS medical were tied to plan names, things like stipends, our annual HRA amounts, premium sharing contributions. So much of it was tied to the title or the name of the plan. So now we're having to do this cleanup. And so as a result, that's why these recommendations are made, that we changed the annual stipends so it's only available to PERS Kaiser and PERS Gold, as is outlined. And that this also, the recommendation as is listed here, it gives the non-represented employees who are enrolled in those plans the same ones that are provided to the rest of our district population, our employment population. So it would reduce some administrative burden, but also probably reduce some education confusion by some of our employees. So we're recommending that the annual stipends align with the rest of the workforce and be tied to PERS Kaiser or PERS Gold. Additionally, we're asking that the annual HRA funding be that equal to that of the to the coalition for PERS Gold and PERS Kaiser, and that we're not recommending any. The recommendation for the HRA funding for the PERS Platinum is a reduced amount, but still is the amount that is the maximum deductible and the coinsurance amount for PERS Platinum, which would reduce their liability. Again, that's a 90-10 plan, so there's already reduced liability to the employee or the early retiree on that one. And then finally, for new hires, this is a standardization. Another standardization piece is with right now the non-reps. They have to be enrolled in a plan for 3 years before they're allowed to move to a different plan, whereas our coalition ATU units, they only have to be enrolled in PERS Kaiser or PERS Gold for 2 open enrollment cycles. So we're just asking to standardize that as well. And then after the 2 open enrollment periods, the employee must select any other plan that's available to them, as is with the remainder of our population. And I'm available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Hopper. Are there any questions on this item?
Not to beat a dead horse, but I just want to make sure that what's being approved here is they're not getting any more special treatment than coalition employees, right? So it's really equalizing.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Director Hill has a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Just for curiosity, when is the open enrollment period?
It is September the 20th through October the 16th. And we will be starting, thank you for mentioning that. We are starting outreach beginning next week with our active employees and our retirees to explain to them any approvals the district makes today and how those will impact them, as well as to start educating them on the recent changes to CalPERS. So open enrollment will start on September the 16th, but the district will be reaching out to them in the first 2 weeks of September with separate meetings.
Thank you, Kelly. You answered my 2 questions very quickly. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, that concludes discussion on item number 5. And before we take our vote, is there anyone from the public wishing to speak on this issue?
Thank you, Chair Arnold. We actually have Helen Moore who wishes to speak on this item again. And in a second, I'm going to introduce her into the line.
Mm-hmm.
Helen, are you with us again? And I believe you wanted to speak under item number 5.
Yes, I'm with you again.
There you go. All right, go ahead.
So I have several comments or questions as well. I just wanted to put it out there that CalPERS notified me, and I would presume other retirees, of upcoming changes during our open enrollment period. And it was kind of a surprise because they don't deal just with the district. I know they have thousands of people they take care of. And in that notification, most of the premium costs were increasing. And that is kind of a scary thing for people who are retired and wanted to find out, are we or the district going to absorb the premium increase costs on the Magic 3 plan? That's question one. Also, I know with ATU and the coalition, they are joining the CalPERS health insurance plans October 1st. Will they in turn have these premium increases go into effect January 1? And how would this affect people who did not retire with full benefits? For example, with less than 80 points or retired before 50 or something where they're already paying a percentage of their health insurance premium. And as a person who reads a lot, and my old job was customer relations supervisor, I had to know a lot of things. To have this just come up less than 2.5 weeks before open enrollment is shocking to me. I would have thought the district would have notified us of anything that was about to happen sooner than this. And I checked the retirees website often. It has not been updated since February 2021. And there is no way to sign up for notifications on that page that would go to the CalPERS transition at goldengate.org. And I also would like to find out when this schedules are coming out and how they're coming out and how I will be notified, as well as other retirees. I have many people who contact me who were coalition members, ATU members, and non-represented members who were pre full benefits and post full benefits and on Medicare. And so there's a lot of confusion. We need that information from the as soon as possible. Thank you.
Madam Secretary, that's several questions, and should we take them one by one?
I think Kelly, can you take them all at once? I think you took down the questions that she had, and I think a couple of them you probably have the answer to.
Great.
Okay. Just as a refresher, recently with the coalition settling, our HR department is now, they have gone through 2 open enrollments since May of this year. So we had to have the standard open enrollment for the coalition. Then we had the coalition settled. So we have had recently, we just completed another open enrollment for the coalition to go to CalPERS. Now, so we've been handling the open enrollment. We only recently found out about the CalPERS change. However, it was going to cause a great deal of confusion if we were doing the coalition's open enrollment and then also doing an open enrollment on top of that for the rest of the population, of which now the coalition is going to have to be part of that as well. So in the interest of keeping it simple and trying to provide some clarity to our workforce, we took the position that we were going to have the open enrollment for the coalition for their October 1 transition to CalPERS. And then we would have the open enrollment for the entire district population for the September. And so when we recently were told of the changes, we learned of them here within the last several weeks. the decision was made that we would take these items to the board for the policy adjustments, and then based upon what the board decided, we would then move forward with our outreach to the whole population after the conclusion of today's board meeting. So if that was the wrong decision, I apologize. I took that, and that's on me. But I was trying to do it in the interest of clarity and to reduce confusion, as well as to maximize staffing resources. Secondly, the premiums. Recently, CalPERS did give us the premiums, gave us finals on the premiums. And as far as premiums for our non-represented, as we outlined in the previous report, a premium share contribution is based upon a percentage. The employee and or retiree would pay a percentage of the premium. So as the premiums will go up on these plans, the employee or the retiree's contribution also would go up, as they are paying a percentage of that. As far as notifications, as I mentioned, we will be sending out notices next week to our entire employee and retiree population, announcing several actually virtual meetings based upon classification. So we'll have a set for ATU, a set for our coalition members, and then a set for our non-represented to try to explain to them what's coming up, the upcoming changes with CalPERS, the changes that you possibly approve here today, and then to provide them some information, as well as keeping our email. We have a robust email list of several many retirees, and we try to keep that up, as well as the district actually has a intranet page that's specifically designed to talk about CalPERS, CalPERS transition, CalPERS medical. So we're doing the very best that we can. Could there be some changes or improvements? Certainly, I'm sure there always are, but we're trying to keep everybody as informed as we can with the information as we have it available. And I hope I got all those questions, and if I did not, I would be happy to answer it if someone would remind me.
Okay. Anyone else have questions?
We have no further public comments on the line.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion on the item?
I'll move the item.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Madam Secretary, please do a roll call vote.
Thank you. We're voting on item number 5 with the first from Director Cochran and the second from Director Hill. Starting with Director Arnold.
Aye.
Director Conroy. Absent. Director Frederick.
Yes.
Director Garbarino.
Yes.
Director Grossbull.
Yes.
Director Hernandez. She's left the call. Thank you. Director Hill.
Yes.
Director Maston.
Aye.
Director Melgar. Absent. Director Rabbit. Absent. Director Rodoni.
Aye.
Director Snyder.
Aye.
Director Stephanie. Absent. Second Vice President Cochran.
Yes.
First Vice President Terrio.
Yes.
And President Parr.
Yes.
Thank you. The vote of 11-0, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So this brings us to item 6 on the agenda, which is public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to address this committee?
We have no other speakers for our public comment.
All right. Well, then may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved. Director Terrio.
May I have a second?
I'll second it. Parr.
If there are no objections, this concludes the meeting of the Rules, Policy, and Industrial Relations Committee. Thank you, colleagues, and the time is 9:47 a.m.